All right, here's a real quick one here. This one will give you a pretty good boost in your casting distance. It depends on rod reel selection, how it works out, but it will allow your braid to one last longer and two cast a lot farther. This reel I'm using here's the Sharky 3. I have the braid here sprayed. It's got to sit for a couple hours till it dries. It's called a quick drying silicone, but I soaked it pretty good, so it gets down into the spool pretty good. This does the same thing as conditioning, as line conditioners that you use that are really expensive, like $11 for a little tiny jug of it. And I'm going to show you the one I've been using for a lot of years. I used to pledge my guides in the wintertime, when you weren't using them, because that way when you cast it, it allows your guides, the line to slide through the guides much better. So, every winter I'd clean up the guides, then I'd pledge them, and that would give you farther casting. Well, I found out this spray here, a guy turned this on to me. It's a silicone spray, fast drying, WD-40, you can get it anywhere. I mean, it's everywhere. Big old can of it's about $7. It lasts a long time. You take your spool off, you spray all the line, you soak it really good, and what it does is once it's dry, it puts a nice, slick, subtle coat on your braid. For one, keeps water from impregnating it, and two, when it goes through your guides, especially micro guides, I'm going to show you on this rod here. This favorite rod I got right here has some really micro guides. Look at the size of those guides. I mean, they are tiny if it'll focus. It will allow them to slide through those guides. And as it slides through them, it kind of coats them themselves. Some of that silicone rubs off on those guides and allows it to slide through the guide. So you get 10 yards better in casting a lot of times. At least I'd say 10%. If you say 10%, you're casting 40, 50 yards easy with a light line. This is 8-pound braid. On a light lure, I meant. If you're casting 40, 50 yards with a light lure, this will get you, another 10%, which could be anywhere from, another 5 feet, 3, 4, 5, up to, I think it gives me about 10, 20 feet difference. Like I'll put a certain size lure on and I can cast at a certain distance, like say 50 yards. And when I do this to the line, you take it out fresh the following fishing trip, it will add another, 20, 30 feet to your casting easily. You might not 10 yards. 10 yards is a bit much, but say if you're casting 60 feet, it'll get you 70 feet. And sometimes that's the distance you need for it. And it really is easy. Like I said, it's the WD-40 Specialist. I've been using it a lot of years. I haven't told anybody about it. I used to use it for just on any rod and reel. I used to actually clean my guides with it. That's what I used to use, to silicone all my guides on my reels, on my rods, and the bail wire on my reels to kind of coat them, to have that happen. Because I used to fish a lot of in the bays in California for spotted bay bass and halibut. And, you'd clean your reels up afterwards, and it would get you a lot more distance. Line wouldn't get burnt up as much on the spool. Like, lots of times you get a line that would dig in on the bail arms, on the old bail. And this is back in the day, the old bail arms. And we used to do the silicone spray to fix that. So it's an old trick that's been around forever. And now with the new braids, I started doing it on braid here this last year, and I just haven't told anybody about it. But it's actually a pretty good thing. I tried one time a line conditioner that's designed for braided line, and it worked out pretty well. And I started researching it and come to find out that the silicone spray does pretty much the same thing. Fast drying, though, you got to get the fast drying. Anything else stays pretty wet and damp on your spool. This will eventually soak, and within a couple hours it'll be pretty dry. So, by the time if you put it on the day before you go out on a fishing trip, you're good to go. And you will feel a difference. The line will be softer. It won't be affected as much by the water. It will cast farther. It will help coat your guides going through the line and your bail arm. You will find that it reels much smoother. Like if you ever had, like this is a 4-strand braid, you'll find it noisy. You'll find it a little less noisy and coming through the guides better. And like I said, it will improve your casting distance. So if you get a chance, give it a shot. It's one of the things I've been doing. And if it works out for you, let me know. But I'm telling you, if you give it a shot and you really try it out, you'll find no degradation. No, your line won't degrade at all when it comes to knot strength. I haven't noticed any difference, and I've left it on. I do this about if I fish a solid week, I'll do it once a week. If I fish an hour or two a day, I will do it I do it about once a week. And I have not found it to do. And it will keep your line, like I said, from fraying as much and stuff like that. It does keep your line from getting beaten up going through the guides. I mean, there's a whole bunch of benefits to this. It'll cast farther. It'll coat your guides. It'll coat your bail arm, especially on spinning reels. It'll coat your eye, your guide on your bait casting reels when it goes through there. It does work on bait casting and spinning reels. I would just tell you take the spool out and do it this way. Make sure you don't have to coat all the drag and stuff. I'd leave that alone. Just spray the line, turn it sideways, spray the line on a bait caster. You just kind of spin it, get it soaked really well, and let it sit. Put it back on once it's pretty dry. Like now it's pretty dry. I'll put it back on the reel, get it set back up, and it'll sit there. I'm probably not going to fish for at least 2 or 3 hours today, even if I fish. But yeah. The can of this stuff, like I said, it's the Specialist, WD-40 Specialist Silicone. Runs about $7, which this can is huge. It's going to last you a long time and do a lot of reels. This is what the real, the braided lines, the specialty silicone spray costs for a third of the size of the can. I mean, it's a really small bottle. I'd tell you, I spent I think it was $12 for the silicone braid spray designed for braided lines, and it cost me $12 for the little bottle. It didn't last as half as long as these do. So yeah, if you get a chance, buy yourself a bottle, spray your line. You'll notice color fade is not as bad. You'll notice a lot of things that are good. There's a lot of benefits to it. Give it a shot and let me know what you think. But yeah, there goes a trick. There's a trick for you for your braid to get some farther casts and some better life out of your braid.